Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1, test, 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 test. Okay, evening everybody. Hope you're all well. Slight diversion this week. I'd intended to do the units, but I thought it would be a good idea to insert this session, and I've actually, in the details down there, I put a bit of information about how I sort of discovered the present moment, basically by reading a book, because until I did that I don't know quite what concept of reality I had, but I suppose one way I looked at it was, it was like life was a path and I'm just a little being scurrying along it. And then so I picked up this book called The Power of Now in 2009, I think, and the author, what he'd done is he had discovered what isn't exactly common knowledge, but it's not out of the public domain in the East due to the Eastern wisdom traditions, which is the recognition that the reality is that the present moment is all there is, and obviously the past resides as a memory of not necessarily as accurately as we would wish, and then of course the future's all imagination, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So subsequently, however, in the modern world we spend a lot of time in these places, spend a lot of time in the past and a lot of time in the future. Now this is all part of being human, but what we don't then do is spend any time in the present moment, and there's consequences to be had for that. One is that because present moment's real, you look around you, this is your reality, whatever it might happen to be. So you might be very poor living on a pavement, you might be on the back of a yacht, you might be anywhere in between. It doesn't make any difference. This is your reality, and there's no escaping it. There's no escaping your present moment, because the present moment's always there. If, however, we choose to spend a lot of time residing in the future, we can concoct all sorts of possibilities. Some of them helpful, some of them not helpful. If we actually sit down and analyze our focus, our future focus, which is actually, interestingly, that's something that researchers have a tendency to study when they're studying mindfulness and meditation. They look at future focus, and future focus diminishes for meditators. You can get somebody to do a 15-minute meditation and it'll affect their future focus. And what that means is that doing the meditations brought you into the present moment. And because you're in the present moment, you become more aware of it. Because you're aware of it, the focus on the future diminishes. Now, that's not to say that if you meditate a lot, you just don't think about the future. You become some sort of indifferent individual that doesn't care what might happen to them. But what it does do is it puts a lot of the scenarios that the mind creates into perspective, and that's desperately needed, because there's no break on it. There's no break on your imagination. There's no limit on what sort of future you can concoct for yourself. I think it was Walter Scott who said, "Look back and smile on perils past." What he means by that is, go back and think of all of the things that you were fearful of, and are they there causing you fear right now? I would wager that not many people last year were preparing for a global pandemic, for example. It's an example of how those things that affect our lives the most are those things that we can predict the least. And expert prediction is currently a myth, although we're getting to the point where we're actually able to rely a little bit more on it. So that's the kind of nuts and bolts of the present moment and the future. But the actual experience of the present moment, the awareness of all of the phenomena of the present moment, is actually what it's all about. Here's another quote, is John Lennon said, "Life is what happens while you're doing other things." And it's very easy in the modern world to be swept along by doing things. So you're doing something now so that something in the future there's an outcome, so that something else in the future that there's an outcome, so on and so on, future, 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 future. And then that's not necessarily a bad thing in itself, but you're never actually in the present moment to experience the things you're doing for the future. Mind's in the present moment, and you're not getting what you can. Sorry, your mind's in the future. You're not getting what you can out of the present moment. So all of the mindfulness meditations are actually designed to help us to become aware of our physiological, psychological experience in the present moment. So they tend to be things like body meditations, breath meditations, meditating on sound, meditating on what we can see right here, right now, meditating, for example, on mantras, which is what we're repeating in our head, but we're doing it right now. And so these practices, what they're doing is they're helping us to reconnect to now. And so that's going to be the focus for the meditation today. I've decided to call it the present moment meditation. And I did this for a class earlier on this week, which was a meditation where we went through a number of different sorts of meditation: body focus, sound, the breath, mantra, so on and so forth, but from the perspective of present moment awareness. And that's what I'm going to do now. So for those of you that have yet to meditate, if you sit comfortably, feet flat on the floor, this is the first part of connecting to the present moment in meditation, is connecting to your physiology. And by that, what we're doing is we're actually having a conversation. It's a two-way thing. You are aware of you're focusing your attention on your physiology, and your physiology responds with information. Are you cool or warm or tired or alert or relaxed or stressed or comfortable or uncomfortable, and so on and so forth, and where is all that happening? So it's like a tap, but because of our future focus we have a tendency to turn it off. And then what meditation does is that helps us to open it up. So just this grounding exercise where we focus our attention on how we're sitting, feet on the floor, elbows by the side, head balanced comfortably on top of the spine. If you place your fingers and thumbs very gently in contact like that, and allow yourself to be aware of what your body's telling you right now. Very probably many of you are tired. Very probably some of you are uncomfortable in some way. And that feedback, that's the beginning of the meditation. It's us connecting to the present moment through our physiology. And then just notice the movement of the sound of the bell through time. And I'll sound it one more time. And so there's two portals into the present moment. One is the body, how you feel. The other is sound. And so throughout this meditation, you'll be able to hear my voice. There's a recognition to be had, a realization that it's the nature of the present moment. There is sound, and that sound is moving through time. As are all of the physical sensations. So if we check in with our physiology, with your elbows by the side, you might have to put them back a little bit. You'll notice your back straighten up naturally. Leave your hands resting gently on the thighs and find the most comfortable position for your head. And allow yourself to become aware of the breath rising and falling. So there's all of these sensations. There's whatever sound there is. And then there's the movement of the breath. And so we can choose how tightly we focus on all of this. So for example, with sound, you could just listen to the sound of my voice, or you could open your focus, your awareness, and become aware of all sound. And notice you can move from one to the other. My words and other sounds. But we're not interested, you're not interested in the words. You don't have to interpret them. Your mind will do it. What we're interested in is the movement of time, the movement of the sound through time. So there's quite a lot of information now. There's the information from the body, all the sensory awareness, all of the feelings, feeling of the feet on the ground, feeling of being pushed into the chair, feeling of your shoulders being pulled down, the feeling of the belly rising and falling. And if there's some emotion that you're aware of, there may be another feeling there. And the sound, my words, movements in your building, sounds outside, traffic, airplanes, birds, whatever it might happen to be. And so your mind can move from one of these to another, or if it can become still enough, and relaxed enough, you can let all of these senses and sensations in. Just like you're stepping into a lake. You can stand by the shoreline, looking down at the pebbles and rocks that you're standing on. Or you can just push off from the shore and immerse yourself, allowing yourself to float in it. And so that's the choice you have with the present moment. We can focus on one element of it, a sound, your breath, a sensation, an emotion, something you see, your thoughts, or we can rest our mind in all of the phenomena of the present moment, in the same way that we rest when we're floating in a lake. We're allowing all of the sensations of the water to feed into our physiology. So we can do the same thing with the present moment. Just allow it in. The cycle of the breath, words, sounds, thoughts, sensations, whatever your mind constructs, however you feel, whatever emotions there are. And so we're just witnessing it, noticing it all. And right at the center of this experience is the movement of the breath in the belly. Just the movement, the rising and falling of the belly. And by noting that, by labeling it, when the belly rises and falls, we still have the choice of focusing on that one element or staying with it and still allowing ourselves to be aware of all of the other phenomena. So either the breath is in the foreground or it's in the background, and all of the other sensations, thoughts, images, memories, sounds, feelings, smells, tastes, whatever we see, it can all be in the background. And so what is in the foreground, what becomes in the foreground is stillness, calmness. We're noticing the belly rising and falling, repeating that in our minds as the belly rises. So rising, the belly falls in your mind, falling. Rising, falling. And the mind does gentle touches of all of the other phenomena, inner and outer. All we're doing is staying aware of the movement of the belly, rising, falling. If you find your mind drawn away, you relax back into the present moment. We're not pulling our attention back, we're releasing what the mind was clinging to when it drew our attention away. We're just letting go of that. And back to noticing all the phenomena of the present moment and the rising and falling of the belly. And gently repeating in our mind, rising, falling. Once we notice the mind's wandered, we gently release what the mind has wandered to. Just let it go, let it drift away. Back to noticing the belly rising and falling. And all the waves of experience washing up against your consciousness. So I'll just practice this for the next few minutes. I call it the present moment meditation. Just in case you're drifting away, either into sleep or into the domain of the mind and the future, I'll just sound the bell. Just to help you find your way back to the present moment. And notice it moving through time. And all we're doing is noticing the movement. Just come back to that movement of the belly. Or if you prefer, the sensation of the breath in the nostrils. You can move from one to the other. If you're noticing the breath in the nostrils, you'll be noticing the coolness and warmth, the coolness and sharpness, the alertness of the in-breath, and the relaxing warmth of the out-breath. So if you ever need to be more alert, you focus on the in-breath. Just noticing an in-breath, another in-breath, another in-breath. If you ever need to relax, just focus on the out-breath. Ideally making it audible. Just noticing the sound as you breathe out. And then you'll just out breath, out breath, out breath. So the in-breath, alertness, alertness, alertness. The out-breath, relax, relax, relax. And you're noticing the cycle, the rhythm of the breath. And all of the other phenomena, thoughts and emotions and sounds and sensations and smells and tastes and awareness of many, many different things, what you can see, how bright it is, how dark it is, how warm it is, how cool, all happening. They're like planets circling around this one focused star of your breath, but they're still there. The breath is the best anchor to the present moment. If your mind becomes unhelpful, breathe in, coolness of the in-breath in the nostrils, breathe out, relaxing down through the body. You're bringing your awareness back to now. Notice unhelpful emotions. You can do the same thing. Resentment or anger or irritation or boredom or frustration or worry or whatever it happens to be. It's a universal focus on the present moment. Back to the coolness in the nostrils and the warmth of the out-breath. If the mind's busy, you repeat in your mind, rising, falling. And it doesn't matter how busy the mind is, doesn't matter how many times the mind wanders, doesn't matter how compelling the thoughts are, doesn't matter whatever sensation, whatever emotion arises, whatever thoughts arise, they'll subside. The breath is an anchor to the present moment, and the present moment is the vantage point from which you witness your mind. The more aware we become of the mind, the more familiar we become of the mind, and the more comfortable we become with the mind. And then the duration and the intensity of thoughts diminishes to a level that's proportional with our experience in the present moment. And then whenever you're ready, in your very own time, gently return your attention to your surroundings. So that for the present moment, that's how it works. It's the focus on the breath returns our awareness to the present moment. From the present moment, we notice everything. We're no longer in an imaginary future that we've created for ourselves, which is so powerful, or sometimes the past. And then we're faced with the mind. And because we're faced with it, we're noticing the thoughts as part of that process, noticing the sounds, smells, tastes, sensations, emotions, thoughts, part of that. And we're getting to know it, know the thoughts, know the emotions, know our physiology, how we respond. And then we're in a better position to navigate it, better position to influence it. And then we're in a position to make choices and change our lives more usefully and the lives of others. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Back on Tuesday night for those of you that are doing the 6-week course, and then we've got Wednesday and Thursday evenings mindfulness based resilience course, and then the following Saturday is the 2020 meditation online group. And then of course I'm back here for the public again on, anybody can listen to these, the following Sunday. Okay, so that's it. Have a great week, everybody, and catch up with you all soon.